Hey, in terms of what we were talking about today and in the readings last night about kind of proactive behavior management, and it's actually interesting. I talked to my advisor from my high school. Is a good friend of mine, and he's doing a bunch of random education related stuff in the Boston area. And when I first talked to him about my experience as student teaching this year, and I mentioned the word discipline, and he almost got upset with me. He hates the word discipline. He thinks I think he was saying basically that's what discipline is, something that police officers do, and the institutions of authority in our society. That's what discipline is, basically when you deserve punishment. And I feel like a lot of what we're talking about right now is that there are so many fewer instances when you actually need to kind of met out punishment that you feel is actually deserved. So much more of the time, you need to focus on the proactive part of it, not being preventative. And the discipline, by definition, is not preventative. That discipline, by definition, is reactive, and that stuck with me. That I just using the word had a pretty serious impact on a guy who was relatively easygoing. Um, and bringing it into the context of an elementary general music class. Oh my goodness, the pink bunny's gone. I've been trying to get rid of the pink bunny for this. Okay, anyway, bring it into the context of a general elementary music class. Behavior is a really interesting one because there are probably tons of, oh my God, it's back. There are tons of disciplines in which you can tolerate certain behaviors that I feel like you can't tolerate as often or in the same way in a music class. Behavior takes on it's a whole nother can of worms really you're doing group, when you're creating something as a group in terms of music, because very, the vast majority of what you do is group work. And your success criteria for group work in a music class, there is this kind of, you want it to be sounding good. And just a couple people with a couple behavior issues can have such a significant impact on the entire class's understanding of their own success criteria because they're doing everything right. They're engaging in the material, they're understanding the concepts. Yet, behavior issues in the class can cause that group goal to not be met, even though the majority and this is again probably a general issue in lots of classes, but I felt like in music in particular, I guess I'll just start with chatter. Um, in any class, you got to put up with a certain amount of chatter, and again, it's about creating an environment in which that's not going to happen because they're engaged enough that there's not going to be chatter. But when it comes down to it, it's so new, the concepts that we're doing for a lot of kids. I'm really only getting used to that now after a year of this, how new a lot of these musical concepts are. And again, that's probably drawing back on my own experience where I was engaged in music from a very, very early age. And so I don't really have the perspective on a lot of these concepts being so alien to kids. And maybe I'm veering off subject a little bit, but um, you can have 18 kids out of 25 being totally engaged and knowing that I've created this environment in which chatter detracts from what they want to learn, what they want to do. And again, it being group work, just a couple kids, maybe even sometimes just one kid having a particular behavior issue that's not even that big of a deal in kind of a broader context. Um, that student might not even be struggling in general, but just small instances of behavior can affect self-efficacy for the rest of the class. And I feel like in music in particular, because there's such a high percentage of group work in what we do, um, that it just it's tough. And in terms of creating that environment, that positive environment in which behavior issues might not happen as much because of the environment that you created as a teacher, um, even throughout the course of the year, just oh, I remember why I went to this everything being so new. It's just that even for kids that are totally engaged, a lot of what we do is so different that they don't respond in the same way. That behavior issues can be caused very unintentionally, especially with the youngsters. I'm talking kindergarten through second, is that them responding positively and with engagement and being excited about what they're doing can detract from what the rest of the class assumes their success criteria are, because one little one little kindergartner can be totally engaged, totally know what's going on. I love what we're doing. It's just so different that I have to say something about it. I have to do something different. I have to leave the expectations of the environment that I created as the teacher. Oh my God, this bunny is driving me nuts. Um, and so that one kindergartner doing a lot of what you expect and would love all of your students to be doing can detract from the rest of the class, in that other individuals are thinking they are not succeeding because the group product has been so affected by that one or two students who might not even be misbehaving out of some type of expression of something wrong, or their needs aren't being met. Um, so that's what I was thinking about a lot today, in terms of, there's this in the Phillips book in chapter 9, there's this columned list where, on the left side this is, proactive good teaching, on the right side this is reactive bad teaching. And I kept looking at that reactive bad teaching column thinking, man, I need to take a very serious look at how I'm interpreting behavior, in that a lot of times my success criteria for everybody, or at least the most possible amount of children in my class who are succeeding and learning and doing the right thing, my success criteria for that is sometimes that just everybody is following directions well enough such that that end product is what we're looking for, again, such that the individuals in the class know that their success criteria were correct and that they met them through their hard work and their engagement and their understanding of the concepts. So it sounds like something that's going to take me probably years to nail down, in terms of how am I going to be creating that environment. It's an issue that my cooperating teachers struggled with, especially with the youngsters. A lot of kindergartners come in different areas, different kind of cognitive abilities and behavioral ability. I don't know if that's really a term, but um, that it's a real, you got to take a very serious look at the environment that you set up, because just a couple kids who aren't buying in, or a couple kids who are buying in and just reacting because the material is so new and exciting and different, that that it can really take away. Um, yeah, so something to keep. God, this damn bunny.